Despite tremendous profits, Hermes has again raised their prices. I don't usually talk about price increases, but I'm talking about it today, and I'll tell you why and my honest opinion about it in this video. Stay tuned. Hi YouTube, Autumn Beckman here. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My channel is all about luxury living on a budget, from high-end luxury handbags and small goods to the everyday luxuries of life. If that sounds interesting to you, please make sure you subscribe, click the bell notification icon to be notified when I post new videos, and be sure to like the videos that you enjoy. And one of the perks of subscribing to my channel is you get to see my community post on your YouTube homepage, where I post deals, discount codes, sales, and rare finds related to these beautiful things we love. So I have never done a video about luxury price increases, and that is very intentional. I have avoided doing one of these videos because everybody else talks about it. Anytime there's a price increase by Louis Vuitton or Chanel or Hermes, the YouTube luxury handbag space is flooded with videos complaining about these companies once again raising prices, as if we don't know they're going to do it. And you hear the same thing over and over again. People complain that these companies that are making so much money are raising prices. People say, I'm not going to buy from them anymore because I don't like that they keep raising the prices, or it's not worth that much to me. It's complaint after complaint, but there's never a solution other than not buying, which is the only solution. If enough of us don't buy at the price increases, that's when the luxury brands will finally get that message, but it never happens, does it? In fact, we also see the same people who complain about the prices within a few months are buying bags at those new prices. People also talk about how disheartening it is for those people who've been saving up and saving up to get to that price point, and they're close to it, and then the price goes up again. Another price increase happens before they can get to that previous price. And I sympathize with that. I do. I'm not wealthy. I can't afford those prices. But personally, I also don't try to buy bags at those prices. I buy pre-loved because I can get almost anything I want on the pre-loved market for a much better price. All that said, I am doing a video now on the Hermes price increase, and some of what I'll say will also apply to other brands. And I'm doing it because it was requested by one of you. Now, this person requested this in a private Instagram message, so I'm not sure if they want me to give their name here, but they sent an article to me from the Business of Fashion about the Hermes price increase. Unfortunately, I couldn't access the article without paying about $30 a month, so I haven't read that article. But I did look up a few others, so I could talk about this in a little more informed way, because Hermes is not a company that I really follow, and I don't follow any of them beyond the pre-loved market very much, since it's not what I can afford to buy, and for many of you, it's not what you can afford either. But since this person's request prompted me to find some articles and read up on this, I found some really interesting things, and I want to share them with you. So although I couldn't access the full article from the Business of Fashion, I did find that they are on LinkedIn and that they did a post about the article. So I'm going to tell you some of what they said in that post, and I'll also have this linked below so you can read the whole thing for yourself if you'd like. They reported that Hermes had a 21% rise in annual sales. I'm reading out of my notebook here. Last year, so 2023, 21% rise in annual sales. That's huge. And that is while the broader luxury market has seen lower numbers overall due to the worldwide economy, which is a bit depressed at the moment. And what I find especially interesting is that they talked about some of the strategy that Hermes uses to get to these numbers. And I found this eye-opening. And in a sense, it's nothing we don't already know as people who watch luxury YouTube videos, and a lot of us have a decent understanding of how Hermes works and how they're different from other brands, and a lot of us critique these approaches. And this post said that the Birkin and the Kelly are two products from Hermes that have really helped them to succeed in this market where others are seeing downturns. And here's how this makes sense, because it's not just about the Birkin and Kelly. It's about that Hermes strategy of what we call the Hermes journey to get to the Birkin and Kelly, and this is fascinating. So they wrote, in recent years, Hermes has also grown sales across categories as top spending bag collectors buy deeply across the company's product assortment. So basically what they're saying there is wealthy people are buying a lot of things from Hermes. And then they also say they're doing that in a bid to curry favor with sales associates. We know why, because they're on that journey. So they're buying things across categories like jewelry and housewares and clothing in order to get to those coveted handbags. And they say young aspirational clients learn to recognize and covet signature items like enamel bracelets, the Click H bracelets. They say the brand's fastest growing categories last year were ready-to-wear and fashion accessories, which were up 28%. It's a lot. Jewelry and homeware up 26%, and watches up 23%. So this is data that explains this age-old question in luxury YouTube about Hermes, which is, why can't we just go in the store and buy the bags? Why do they make us go through this journey? It's because it's profitable for them. I mean, we already knew this, right? But it's very interesting to see it laid out like this. What I also found interesting was a comment on this post in LinkedIn, and it's by someone named Fabio Beccari, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, who's a former marketing executive at Gucci. And keep in mind here, marketing. And if you saw my last video called Luxury is a Lie, we talk about marketing in there. So this is a great perspective from someone who is a marketing executive in luxury. I'm going to read his entire comment. It's a little bit long. He said, "We shouldn't just congratulate the management of Hermes for their best-in-class 2023 results, but above all for their decades long-term vision and ability to support their timeless products and simultaneously maintain an intact and spotless brand positioning." Hermes posted the best performance of the entire luxury sector for 2023. They didn't even experience the slowing growth that LVMH had, nor the decrease that Kering suffered. Hermes found the perfect alchemy, and they've been extremely consistent with the same strategy throughout the decades. They are timeless, but they're also relevant. They are status, but they don't necessarily need the big logo. Their products, mainly the Birkin and Kelly bags, cannot be considered as luxury consumption goods, but they are a real investment. They have the ability to increase in value. This is an incredible advantage that resonates with every customer globally. That's why even during difficult times, Hermes is able to perform better than its competitors. So I find all of that absolutely fascinating. It's all about profit. Of course it is. It's a for-profit business, and it has worked for them. And it's working for them better than the strategies of other luxury brands in the same sphere. And their strategy does have a lot to do with exclusivity. Again, artificial exclusivity like we talked about in the last video. And it's the kind of thing that I don't like. It's not something that I find particularly ethical and not something that I really want to participate in. Of course, I also don't have the money to be able to go on an Hermes journey and buy a Birkin or Kelly, so maybe that's a little easy for me to say. Maybe if I was in a higher financial position, I might feel differently. If I really wanted a Birkin and Kelly, maybe I'd be willing to do that journey. Although I think really if I could afford one, I'd just get it from the pre-loved market and get exactly what I want when I want and not have to buy all the other things, which could very well add up to or even exceed the difference in price between a brand new Birkin or Kelly from Hermes versus one that's probably twice the price on the pre-loved market. But let's get back to the price increase. So their sales overall went up 21% in 2023, which is incredible, especially in this global economy. And despite that, they decide to raise prices by approximately 8%. Now this is a global price increase from what I understand, but in the US it was approximately 8%. And there are people who not only just complain about the price increases in general, but also bring in the factor of it's tough times right now. So the economy is depressed, you shouldn't be raising prices, which hurts people even more. People said the same thing during COVID when there were price increases during those first few years. We're going through a difficult time. The nerve of you to raise prices for luxury handbags. So here's my very honest and possibly very unpopular opinion. Who cares? I don't see anything wrong with it. Is it something I like? No. Who likes a price increase when you're the customer? But do I have a problem with it? No. Because none of us need anything from Hermes. In the last video I mentioned Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Hermes bags are way at the top when we're talking about that pyramid in terms of luxury. They're completely aspirational, and their price points are so outrageous already. It doesn't really matter if they keep going up. They're an independent, for-profit business. They can do whatever they want, and you as the customer can decide whether you want to continue supporting them or not. In one of the articles that I read, which tracked some of the price increases, this was from the Purse Forum. What I found most interesting about that article was the comment section. There was someone who said that my better judgment says a firm no way to these prices. These are the increased Hermes prices. They say, I wish I had learned decades ago that it's not really things that give us fulfillment. It's our family, relationships, our mental well-being, our health, our purpose. I found that interesting for a couple of reasons. One is that instinctually customers tend to say no to price increases, but we also tend to give in to them over time as we get used to them. And we forget what things used to cost. This is the price now, so that's what it costs. If I want the product, that's what I pay for it. But I also thought this was interesting because they talk about the things in life that I feel like most people know are the important things, and most people know that material things aren't important compared to these other things, like families and relationships. But it was interesting that they said they wish they had learned that decades ago. And it makes me wonder what kind of childhood they had that they didn't know that growing up. I just find that a little sad. Someone else says, anyone in the position to put down the money for an Hermes bag does not care about a price increase. And on one hand, yes. On the other hand, no, because I know there are a lot of people who do buy Hermes that still care about the prices. And even if we're talking about very wealthy people here, just because you're wealthy doesn't mean you don't pay attention to prices or care about them. And then this perspective, this is something that a lot of us are familiar with here in this luxury handbag space. This person says that they had tried to get an Hermes bag for a while and they couldn't get one. So they were in Europe somewhere and bought a fake one. They got an Hermes Constance. And they say, why should I walk around with a fake bag just because Hermes doesn't sell me a bag? Since then, I've gone one step further and avoided Hermes policy and therefore also their products. No bag in the world is worth such a fuss. I really hope that at some point the hype will be over and nobody will be interested in these bags anymore. Pride comes before a fall. Hopefully I'll read somewhere at some point, The Deep Fall of Hermes. And I thought that was really interesting too, because this strategy that has worked so well for being profitable for Hermes also has this other side of the sword, right? Where it damages relationships with customers. And it leads a lot of people away from Hermes. People who don't want to play the Hermes game. And I wonder, I have no information on this, but I wonder how that fits within Hermes' strategy. I also wonder, since this strategy is based on artificial scarcity, they could make more Birkins and Kellys. They could offer them more readily to customers. They could make enough that they just have them in the store and you can walk in and buy one. And you don't have to go through all the games. That's what all the other big fashion houses do. Louis Vuitton, Chanel, the bags are there in the store for the most part. But then you consider, well, Hermes has these profits where the other ones have seen a downturn. But then I also wonder, and again, I don't have the numbers on this, so if you do or you know where to find them, please let me know in the comment section below. Let's compare Hermes and Louis Vuitton for a second. For the most part, you can walk into Louis Vuitton and buy whatever bag you want. They have them on the shelves. You can look at them in person. And sure, plenty of people complain about all kinds of things related to Louis Vuitton, but you don't hear the kind of complaints that you do from Hermes so much, where people are like, I'm just not buying from Hermes because they do business a certain way and I don't agree with that, so I will not be a customer. They've lost me as a customer. I could afford to be a customer, but I won't be. And so that results in a damaged relationship between Hermes and customers. So I wonder if they changed their policies and made their bags available like Louis Vuitton does, would they do better or worse? And you could say, well, they would do worse because Louis Vuitton's strategy is to make their bags available and they've seen a downturn versus Hermes seeing an upturn. But then I'd have to say, are the businesses comparable? I don't know because I don't have the numbers, but Hermes has far fewer stores than Louis Vuitton. And let's take Louis Vuitton separate from the LVMH conglomerate and not include the other things. If we're just looking at Louis Vuitton, do they have more sales in quantity than Hermes that ultimately translates to bigger numbers? Now, whether that percentage of growth is the same is a different story. So Hermes went up 21%. Maybe Louis Vuitton went up 10%, I'm making this up, but maybe Louis Vuitton's 10% equals $20 billion making things up. And Hermes's 21% equals 5 million. The percentages and what they represent in terms of dollar amount could be different. So depending on how you look at it, you could come up with a different conclusion about success. Does that make sense? And of course, this whole thing you can look at from two perspectives. One is the business and the marketing side. So in that sense, Hermes is doing it right. Like, they're being very successful. Their strategy is working very well for them. So why change it? On the other side, you've got the consumer, and looking at their business model from the consumer side, as we know, can be a very frustrating thing. It can alienate customers, but for others, it can get them to spend a whole lot more money than they may otherwise have on their Birkin or Kelly journey. So what do you think about this? Do you appreciate what they're doing as a business, or do you find it unethical? How do you feel as a consumer? Do you want the Birkin or Kelly enough to go on the Hermes journey? Would you rather get it pre-loved? Would you rather avoid Hermes altogether? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Hope to see you back here next time, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.